You buy a ticket to a massive late-night techno event. The music is loud, the lights are pulsing, and you're surrounded by thousands of people. On April 11th, 2026, about 4,000 people packed into the NESCO Exhibition Centre in Mumbai for exactly that kind of release. Among that crowd was a group of 15 to 25 young, highly educated MBA students. They arrived ready for a standard night out, but before they even reached the gates, at least one of them took a yellow pill, suspected to be MDMA, in the cab. Inside the venue, they took another pill. Taking MDMA rapidly raises your body temperature and your heart rate. Combine that with alcohol and continuous dancing in a dense crowd, and the physical exhaustion easily masks the early signs of severe medical distress. Around 2:30 in the morning, people in the group started collapsing. The night ended with 2 dead and a 25-year-old student fighting for her life. We tend to think that if an event has tickets, barricades, and official permits, it's a controlled environment. But that official stamp creates a dangerous blind spot. In a massive crowd, a medical crisis looks exactly like someone just dancing too hard, until it's too late to intervene. When a mega event happens in a city like Mumbai, the police are usually there to approve the paperwork. Their primary job is issuing the permits to allow the gathering, not actively monitoring the thousands of attendees inside. This matrix compares what an event promises against the actual vulnerabilities on the ground. On the left side of this matrix, you have your assumptions. You see security guards at the gates, and you assume the area is completely secure. On the right side, you have the reality. Once thousands are packed shoulder to shoulder, the interior becomes an unmonitored zone where physical hazards go completely unnoticed. The moment your ticket is scanned and you walk past those gates, you transition from a protected patron into an individual who is entirely responsible for their own survival. To understand how lethal pills get into the crowd, we must look away from concert halls and into the dense residential suburbs of Mumbai. In a recent case, police arrested a peddler roaming suspiciously at night with 15 grams of MD drugs. He was operating far above street level. Investigators discovered he rented a small room for 13,000 rupees a month. Inside that tiny space, he was running a complete mini drug factory. This chart illustrates the financial volume of that single room, turning out 25 to 30 crore rupees of drugs monthly. Production is broken into dozens of these isolated rooms citywide. If one is raided, others keep producing, making the network almost impossible to dismantle at once. This underground, scattered manufacturing process guarantees zero chemical quality control. The chemical makeup of a pill changes from batch to batch, directly increasing the risk of a lethal overdose for whoever ends up taking it. These operations actively target large music festivals, offering a concentrated pool of thousands of potential buyers hidden within a massive crowd. At the NESCO event, the physical security perimeter completely failed. Police arrested a bouncer for letting peddlers walk right in without tickets. But the physical gate is only part of the problem. Buyers and sellers coordinate through encrypted messaging apps, using coded language to arrange hidden handoffs. Following the deaths, police tracked these failures straight to the top. They arrested the event organizers and venue staff, charging that with culpable homicide. You cannot rely on an event's perimeter security to keep you safe, because the staff and administrative systems themselves are frequently the exact points of entry for these lethal substances. This checklist represents the festival protocol. Because the environment is inherently compromised, you have to shift away from trusting the organizers and start actively managing your own risk. The first requirement is the buddy system. This means making a direct trade-off. You sacrifice some of your own freedom and spontaneity to actively monitor your friend's physical state throughout the entire night. The second requirement is chemical skepticism. You must treat any substance handed to you, even by someone in your own group, as a volatile, entirely unknown chemical. The third requirement is establishing a medical exit strategy. Before you start dancing, this requires a difficult social trade-off. You have to be confident enough to look your peers in the eye and reject the idea that taking synthetic drugs is a required status symbol for the night. Spend your first 10 minutes inside the venue locating the medical tents and identifying the fastest route out of the crowd. Surviving a large-scale event means you must treat your personal safety as an active, mandatory investment. You have to compensate for the deficits of the venue. You might be asking yourself if maintaining this strict protocol ruins the carefree, escapist nature of festival culture. But compare that minor loss of spontaneity to the permanent costs. The young MBA students who lost their lives at NESCO left behind completely shattered families and futures that ended abruptly at 24 years old. The ultimate trade-off here is clear. You must exchange the false sense of youthful invincibility for guaranteed situational awareness. No matter how prepared you are, you will always be surrounded by hidden, systemic risks the moment you step into these crowds. Modern festival culture is still out there to be enjoyed, but it is exclusively safe for those who recognize that, at the end of the day, your survival is in your own hands.